Good day, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I just created another video, and it's about yoga and a brain map that I did, which basically means that um, I went to my doctor's office and they put a an electrode cap on my head, put some goop in my hair, which is why it's a little bit crazy right now. And took readings of the electrical signals going on in my brain. Um, Got my nice little blanket right here, just kind of hanging out. Things are looking up for the day. I was a little bit grumpy, a little bit frustrated for a while, for no good reason, for no apparent reason. I tried to dissect the potential reasons why a little bit. Um, I've been getting agitated with people, certain people in particular, but I'm not going to go into that too much. Um, I really think it's about the fact that I need a change in my life. I need to do something a little bit differently. And, I'd really like to move. Um, I'm looking at a dream home of mine. And while I would ultimately like to live in various places and have more than one homestead, this particular house is just truly magnificent. It's located in San Clemente, California. It's called La Casa Pacifica. It is an estate that was originally built in the early 1900s in a Spanish Andalusian style. And it is a very expensive home. I have expensive tastes. I love beautiful things. I love high quality things. I love artfully made things. Um, and things that were designed well with concepts like harmony, environmental harmony, and harmony in terms of flow, energy flow in the buildings, energy flow in the product, um, being incorporated into them. And I know that's pretty vague in a lot of ways, but it it means something to me, and it's important to me. But anyways, onto this property. It's a beachfront parcel of land. It's about 5.5 acres. Um, it was owned by Richard Nixon when he was the President of the United States, which is interesting. It's not a selling point for me. I don't really care about things like that so much. Although I do appreciate the feeling of history and environments when I can feel them. My senses have been kind of shut off to all of that stuff since I had the psychotic break, um, which is a bit of a shame because I really enjoyed feeling the richness of a an environment's history, and it was just a nice quality, a nice experience for me to have. I don't know how many of you feel the energy of places in any real way or any strong way, uh, but it can be a really pleasurable thing, especially it just kind of adds a new dimension to a an experience, and it's quite lovely when there's really a rich history in a certain area and there's a mixture of energy patterns. It kind of percolates to the surface of one's conscious experience through sights and smells and sounds, and just the overall vibe of a place. And sometimes there's kind of an imprint left in an area where you can tell something happened, where you can tell that uh, there is an underlying vibe to the area. Um, yeah, once again, it just adds kind of a new dimension or another dimension to experiencing a life. And I hope I can get that back. I think there's quite a bit of work that I need to do on my neurological systems to help to calm them down a little bit and bring back some of that sensitivity that I had. But back to this estate. I'm looking for people who might be interested in collaborating to turn this estate into a high-class hotel. I would keep part of the estate for my private use, but part of the dream is to have all sorts of interesting and wonderful people come to the estate and spend time there, whether it's just a weekend or a week or even a month. And it's been built in such a way where it has multiple structures, multiple housing structures. So there's a guest house, there's a main house that's about 9,000 square feet. I think it's got 9 bedrooms in it. There are staff quarters, so we could have, a wide variety of things happening on the property all at once. It's got beautiful gardens. It's very well landscaped. They do some agricultural production on the property, mostly a small vegetable garden, but that could be expanded. And I'm interested in putting in an orchard for some fruiting trees, some oranges and kiwis and maybe some apples, um, mangoes potentially. I mean, the possibilities are really almost endless. I know 5.5 acres isn't the largest parcel of land ever, but a lot can be done with 5.5 acres. The current asking price for this property is $63.5 million, which is an astronomical amount. At the same time, I do think that the selling price is going to be significantly lower than that. It is, once again, a truly remarkable property, and it's one of the largest privately held beachfront estates in all of Southern California, especially that's for sale currently. So it's unique in that sense, and I think it's going to maintain and appreciate in value because it is so large and because it is in a very select, prestigious area of San Clemente, which is a beautiful little town. It's kind of a surf town, just a coastal Californian town. Um, but yeah, I'm interested in getting some people together to potentially invest in this property. And I'd like to see part of it be turned into kind of a museum, an architectural museum. Once again, it's in a Spanish Andalusian style. It's got classical elements to it. It's got kind of stucco walls and frescoes. Um, it has a couple of courtyards, a gazebo overlooking the ocean. It could be used for marriage ceremonies and parties. We could have people, throw parties there, and their catering would be possible. I believe there is a catering kitchen, and if there isn't one, it can be installed. So, the options are uh, quite expansive, and I intend to buy this property at some point in my life. I'm still working on making millions of dollars, which could be a little bit of a trick, but I've been successful at many things in my life, and I do have some experience in not coding per se, but in the software industry. I started a company when I was a teenager with a couple of my high school friends, and we were decently successful, especially for being 19 and 20 years old. Um, we raised at that time about $150,000 and sold the company for a profit after about a year and a half, um, which, quite frankly, for our investors, we did better for them than any of their other investments had been doing at the time. And this was right around, I think it was about 2006. So it was before the markets crashed. I think they crashed in 2009 and the economy started to fall apart in about 2009. My memory is not serving me so well, so I could be wrong about that. And feel free to correct me in any ways that I am wrong. Um, but yeah, I intend to buy this property in San Clemente, and I'm working on some projects right now. Some of them have the potential to make probably, a couple $100,000 to $1 million. Others have the potential to grow significantly larger than that. And I'm focusing on the ones that have the potential to grow significantly larger than that, as opposed to the smaller ones. Um, Plus, as much as it's about making money, it's about the enjoyment of the process of creation and the enjoyment of the experiences that I have while creating whatever it is I decide to create. Um, I'll talk a little bit about the business that I would really like to build, and that has to do with jet propulsion and aircraft engineering. I'd like to make jetliners that utilize some elemental gases to fuel them and produce only water vapor as their only exhaust. Um, if you know a little bit about combustion processes and all of that, you can probably figure out what I'm getting at for a fuel source. But, the technology does exist currently. It just needs to be refined and strengthened. Um, I, I personally know that the technologies that I want to develop for these aircraft are going to be used in the future. It's probably another 10 to 20 years down the road. Uh, Generally, a lot of the ideas that I work with um, kind of come to me about 5 to 10 years before they reach the general public. And, I tend to have pretty good foresight in the areas of science and technology and in societal constructs, cultural constructs that become very influential. So I'm looking to kind of ride the wave as I see it approaching, as opposed to letting it pass, which I have done in my past because I've been sick, I've been unwell, I haven't been able to work. But the better I get, the more I recover from this illness, the more likely it is that I'll be able to spend considerable amounts of time on any one project, and I'm looking forward to that. Um, to describe myself a little bit more, I'm tenacious, I'm very stubborn, I'm very resilient, and I'm not easily discouraged. So those are all qualities that have served me well, especially in the recovery process, and will serve me well in relationship building and product development, idea generation. and it helps to be patient as well. And I do have a lot of patience. I've had to learn patience so that I don't suffer. And when you're forced to learn patience so that you don't suffer, you tend to learn some patience. And I mean, the only other option was to continue suffering, and I didn't really consider that an option. But anyways, back to this property. I'm really all about this property. It's called La Casa Pacifica. I would check it out if you have any interest in classical Spanish architecture. It's kind of a very similar style to a lot of the structures in California. It's a beautiful home. It's got a ton of space. It's in a private gated community, and I think it could be a fantastic little small private resort. You know, we could get a couple of fun cars for the property that could be used by visitors. Could set up an art gallery. I'd really like to get some artists together, some musicians, have some musical shows. We could get a little symphonic event going on, some jazz performances. We could even throw some private raves. I don't know if you're into raves or not in electronic music, but I'm a fan personally, especially stuff with more classical elements and more jazzy elements to it. Um, to describe my musical tastes a little bit more, I love classical music. I love jazz, all sorts of jazz. I just love the overall vibe of jazz. I love horns, saxophones, um, some jazz guitar, piano. The percussion is always something that I enjoy. I like marimbas and vibraphones and xylophones, things with kind of round sound and sound that is a little bit gritty at the same time. Um, Not sure where I was going with that, but I love funk music and soul music. Some classic rock is pretty good, and I do think it has its place. Some punk rock. Um, in terms of electronic music, I like trance. I like house, deep house. Uh, things with a lot of soul to them. And I'm still learning to appreciate music again. I'm still gaining back my ability to actually enjoy music, but I do tend to play music in the background. And I imagine doing that at this estate in San Clemente, California. I mean, it would be great fun to get some musicians together and just have jam sessions. I don't personally play any instruments well. I kind of mess around on the piano. I used to produce music using, music production software, and it was pretty good. I liked it at least. The styles varied just as much as my tastes in music vary, and it was a lot of fun. It was very technical. Um, Something I would like to do again in the future. I used to sing, and I was quite good at it. I had a very versatile voice, and uh, I was able to, yeah, I'll just let that thought go. But anyways, so I imagine we could do on this property like silent auction dinners and galas and all sorts of other parties. You could have, people who want to throw bridal showers. You could even help the people or house the people for after the wedding. There's probably a golf course nearby, but I'm not really too concerned about that. The property does have a tennis court, and I think it's a clay court. We could turn it into a grass court. I like tennis. Tennis is fun. Um, what else? I don't know. I really encourage you to check out this property and hit me up if you think it's interesting. Um, it's beautiful. It's perfect location. It's got beautiful grounds, exotic plants that are well established. I imagine putting a solar array on the property to produce all the electricity using renewable resources. And I imagine growing all of my own organic foods, fruits and vegetables. Could probably even put chickens on the property, and in some ways it would be well suited to the property, and I think it would be just kind of fun for eggs or for harvesting the chickens themselves. I don't really eat a ton of meat. I eat mostly vegan, but at the same time, I've been expanding my horizons again at the recommendation of my doctor. Um, he seems to think that it would be helpful for me. And I've been enjoying eating meat again. I do have some kind of emotional issues with doing so. I prefer animals alive, and I like animals a lot. Um, I like having animal friends. But, anyways, I've kind of been rambling a bit. Um, Check out La Casa Pacifica. I think it's being listed on, uh, let's see here. Well, I can't find it. Give me another second. It's on TellurideLuxuryProperties.com. That's the listing realtor. Um, they may be based in Colorado. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's Telluride, Telluride, luxuryproperties.com. There's also an article on LA Curbed that came out kind of a while ago. I think it was late last year. Sorry, I'm looking at all the different tabs I have open on my browser, and it's not well organized. Sorry for that. I know I just took some of your time up. I hope you all have the patience to listen to me and to continue watching, even if I am dicking around on the computer. Uh, Anyhow, I'm gonna let this video come to a close. I would be interested in hearing from any of you who are interested in potentially trying to get some funds together to purchase this property in San Clemente. And I really do mean it. I know that some of you are probably thinking something like, this guy's delusional. How is he ever going to raise $63.5 million? This, that, and the other thing. But I will say that one of the most important parts of dream creation, from my experience, is being positive and being oriented with your dream emotionally and mentally, which means uh, knowing that it is a possibility. There are so many things that could happen that could make this not just a potential, but an actuality. And I'm working towards it. And like I said, I'm resilient, I am tenacious, I am stubborn, and I'm a great problem solver. I have expansive vision, and I know how to hone in on the specifics of that vision to create things that are effective and functional. And I'm pretty good at sharing ideas. I'm pretty descriptive, and I can articulate myself reasonably well. Sometimes it just comes out as, like Neanderthal like grunts and sounds. Um, but I think I can put words together in pretty artful ways that describe what I want them to describe with a great deal of precision. And, you know, hit me up. Say hello if nothing else. I would love to hear from some of you. I would love to get to know you. You can post a video. You can link me to your own pages, your own websites. I'd be happy to check out what you're doing. I'd like to know what you're doing. I'm looking for friends. I'm looking for business partners. I'm looking for anybody who wants to have a nice conversation. Once again, I'm looking for positive relationships, and I don't expect you to be positive all the time. I don't expect you to be, um, excited and joyful all the time. I will accept you as you are and allow you to be who you are. At the same time, I think it would be great to connect and see where things go. So, once again, hit me up. You can find me at acaseofschizophrenia.com and connect with me through the contact page. It's linked to my account, my email account at acaseofschizophrenia.com. I'll get back to you whenever I can. You can also, once again, just post a link on one of these videos. I should see it if you do in the comments section. Not sure how else you might get in contact with me, but I think this is a good first step, and I'm uh, excited to meet some new people. So thank you so much for listening. I know I just meandered quite a bit. I hope I said some interesting things, as I usually hope, and I look forward to engaging with you at some point in the future. Goodbye.